I recently found a YouTube channel where a guy is sharing some really good information. I think he's targeted at quite young players. I don't know much about him at all. It seems that he's done some marching band stuff, and it looks like he may have been to music college in America. He talks quite a bit about his final recital and how his chops improved whilst he was working towards it. And he does share some excellent information about practice. There is one video he put up recently which was about how to improve your range on the trumpet, and he does a great job of identifying, well, he does a good job of identifying how traditional teaching's letting people down. He's highlighting that, the faster air fallacy and the more air fallacy, which is all nonsense. He then talks about, or he does a little demonstration of tongue level not being the solution to all the problems. I agree with him on that. But he then goes on to say that therefore the solution is lip tension, and that is unfortunately also not true. If you look at the way this guy plays high notes, he's putting in so much physical effort with the face. It wouldn't be sustainable to play like that on a 3 or 4 hour gig. Doing the sort of work that I was doing a few years back, where you'd go and do a 3 hour rehearsal and then go and do the show that night, or even if you're doing pit work and you're playing 2 shows a day, you couldn't use that kind of face effort for playing high notes. Certainly not, lead trumpet stuff. It looks horrendous, and and unfortunately the sound isn't great either. He gets a really thin sound up there, because if you imagine your vibrating surface here getting tighter and thinner as you ascend, that's not gonna cut it. I just want to sort of demonstrate having the same sort of sound across the whole range of the instrument. I've only been doing a little warm up here, so it's not gonna be examples of my greatest playing, but this stuff needs to be discussed. I think maybe I would recommend that guy go read the Superchops book from the 1980s version of the Superchops stuff, to realise that yes, it is about a lip movement as such. At least if you're not doing something like TCE, then it's going to be a correct movement of the lips, but it's not lip tension. You've got to find a way of creating resistance to the airstream, which isn't here, which isn't by raising the back of the tongue, any of that sort of stuff. It's I don't need to go. I've talked about this stuff so much, and I think there are plenty of places where you can find my opinions on how to create correct resistance to the airstreams, thus in a way that you then use your body to create those higher pitches and sustain them over a long period of time without damaging what's happening here. Anyway, let's just have a look at what happens when I play the trumpet. Water. Notice there's no stretching here, no stretching whatsoever. And in fact, just to play that scale, I don't really feel like I'm using much physical effort at all because of the method that I use to play. But let's take it a bit higher. Sorry about that. Just some notes not in the center there. But I still haven't got to a point where I'm taking deep breaths or using much physical force to play at all. You could argue that it's about the position of the lips or something like that, or the position of the tongue in my case, because I use TCE, tongue controlled embouchure. I've got a lot of information out there about what that is. But it's just the fact that, people are out there on the internet talking about playing high notes using using a real sort of like, self-discovery approach to unraveling the problems with traditional teaching. And, that's great, but the work's already been done. We know how to play the trumpet right. I don't think that many experts are out there talking about that stuff, and I can do another video about why I think that is. But it's just, it's not, the answer is not lip tension. That's all I want to say, really. But, it's not physical effort either. It's, I'm creating resonance through pressurizing the air inside my body, and that happens as a result of creating enough resistance of the embouchure in a way that still allows the air to get through, or a very minuscule amount of air. We use less air the higher we play. I think that's pretty much all I had to say. Thanks for watching. I had to just sort of stick that at the end after the talking in case I split the notes, but that's a nice double high C, isn't it?